In 2009, a psychology study proved something disturbing. The moment you tell someone your goal, your brain quietly decides you've already accomplished it. That one unconscious trick your mind plays on you has silently destroyed more dreams than failure ever could. And the worst part? You felt good about it. You felt productive. You felt like you were making progress. But you weren't. You were leaking the very fuel you needed to actually get there. Today, you're going to learn why the most dangerous thing you can do with a plan is talk about it. And why the people who win, the ones who actually change their lives, almost always do it in silence. Here's what most people don't understand about motivation. It's not unlimited. It's not even renewable in the way you think it is. Motivation runs on a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine doesn't care whether you've actually done something or merely imagined doing it. In 2009, Peter Gollwitzer, a psychology professor at New York University, published a study that shocked the behavioral science community. He took 163 participants and split them into two groups. Both groups wrote down a personal goal. One group announced their goal to the room. The other kept it to themselves. Then both groups were given 45 minutes to work toward that goal. The results were striking. The group that had kept their goals private worked the entire 45 minutes and still felt they had a long way to go. But the group that had announced their goals, they stopped, on average, after just 33 minutes. And when asked how they felt, they reported feeling closer to achieving their goal, even though they had done less work. Think about that. The simple act of saying, "I'm going to do this," created a premature sense of completion. Their brains had already given them the reward. The dopamine had already been spent. The announcement became a substitute for the achievement. The ancient Stoics understood this nearly 2,000 years before Gollwitzer ever set foot in a laboratory. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." He wasn't being poetic. He was issuing a tactical warning. He knew that words, spoken too soon, become a trap. They create an identity before you've built the foundation to support it. And once you wear the mask of someone who has arrived, you lose the hunger of someone who is still climbing. But the dopamine trap is only the first layer. The second is far more insidious, because it doesn't come from inside you. It comes from the people you trust. Here's a truth that's uncomfortable but necessary. When you share your plans with someone, a friend, a family member, even a partner, you're not just sharing information. You're handing them a lens through which to judge your future. And that lens is almost never clean. It's scratched and distorted by their own fears, their own failures, and their own limitations. Psychologists call this projection bias. People unconsciously project their own boundaries onto your ambitions. When you say, "I'm going to start a business," they don't hear opportunity. They hear risk, because that's what it would mean for them. When you say, "I'm going to change my life," they don't feel inspired. They feel threatened, because your growth quietly highlights their stagnation. And so they respond with what sounds like concern. "Are you sure about this? That sounds really hard. I just don't want you to get hurt." These aren't words of wisdom. They're the quiet architecture of sabotage. Not malicious, but devastating all the same. Seneca warned about this centuries ago. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it." And one of the greatest ways we waste it is by filtering our vision through the eyes of people who cannot see what we see. The moment you allow someone else's doubt to sit inside your mind, it begins to grow roots. You didn't plant it. You didn't ask for it. But now you're spending energy fighting a battle that never needed to exist. And this is where it gets interesting. Because you might think, well, what about accountability? Isn't that the whole point of telling people your goals? To keep yourself on track. This is one of the most widely believed myths in self-improvement. And modern psychology is starting to tear it apart. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that public accountability works in very specific, structured contexts, like weight loss programs with weekly weigh-ins. But for complex, identity-level goals, starting a business, writing a book, transforming your life, public accountability often backfires. Here's why. When you announce a deeply personal goal, you invite an audience. And the moment you have an audience, the goal shifts. It's no longer about your internal growth. It's about their perception of your progress. You stop asking, "Am I moving forward?" and start asking, "Do they think I'm moving forward?" This is the social accountability paradox. Instead of motivating you, the pressure creates performance anxiety. You become afraid to fail publicly. And that fear doesn't push you forward. It freezes you completely. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone. As the Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the known world, he kept a private journal. Not for publication. Not for glory. For himself. What we now call the Meditations was never meant to be read by another soul. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't announce his philosophy. He practiced it in silence. And that silence is precisely what gave it power. Now, here is the point most people don't see coming. Silence isn't just a psychological tool. It's a strategic weapon. And history's most powerful figures knew it. Consider this. In 218 BC, the Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca did something that military strategists still study today. He wanted to invade Rome. But he didn't announce it. He didn't send threats. He didn't posture. Instead, he quietly marched an army of 50,000 soldiers and 37 war elephants across the Alps, a route the Romans considered impossible. By the time Rome understood what was happening, Hannibal was already inside Italy. His silence was his greatest weapon. He let the results announce what his plans never did. Fast forward 2,000 years. In 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple when the company was 90 days from bankruptcy. He didn't hold press conferences about his grand vision. He didn't leak his plans to the media. He went silent. He cut Apple's product line from 350 items down to 10. He worked behind closed doors. And then, in 1998, he unveiled the iMac, a product nobody saw coming, and it changed the trajectory of the entire company. Jobs once said, "Real artists ship." He didn't say, "Real artists talk about what they're going to ship." The difference matters. And now we arrive at the most powerful point. The one I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. Silence protects something that noise always destroys. And that something is your becoming. There is a fragile, sacred phase in every transformation where you are no longer who you were but not yet who you're becoming. You're in between. And this in-between phase is the most vulnerable period of your entire journey. It's when the seed has cracked open underground but hasn't yet broken through the soil. No one can see it. Nothing appears to be happening. But everything is happening. And this is the exact moment most people choose to announce themselves. They feel the internal shift and they want external validation. They want someone to say, "Yes, you're changing. Yes, I see it. But that need for recognition is the very thing that poisons the process. The Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu wrote something that applies perfectly here. He said, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears." The same principle governs your goals. When you're truly committed to becoming something, you stop needing anyone to witness it. You stop performing your progress for an audience. You become like water, flowing in silence toward the lowest ground, filling every crack, reshaping the landscape without making a sound. Seneca echoed this when he wrote, "The greatest power is often simple patience." Not patience as passivity. Patience as strategy. The patience to grow without applause. To build without broadcasting. To become dangerous while everyone else thinks you're standing still. So let's connect all of this. Let's zoom out and see the full picture. You now know 5 things that most people will go their entire lives without understanding. 1. Your brain cannot tell the difference between talking about a goal and achieving it. Every announcement steals the neurochemical fuel you need to actually do the work. 2. Other people's reactions to your plans are never about you. They're projections of their own fears, wrapped in the language of concern. 3. Social accountability, for deep personal goals, creates performance anxiety that paralyzes rather than motivates. You trade internal drive for external pressure, and you always lose in that exchange. 4. The most powerful strategists in history, from Hannibal to Marcus Aurelius to Steve Jobs, operated under one shared principle: move in silence, and let your results be the announcement. 5. Your transformation has a fragile phase. And silence is the only thing that protects it. The deeper lesson beneath all of this is simple but profound. Silence is not the absence of action. Silence is the highest form of action. It's the discipline to let your work speak before your mouth does. It's the strength to sit with discomfort, with uncertainty, with the aching need to be seen, and to choose, consciously, to keep going anyway. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Remember, the one no one was supposed to read, the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." And perhaps the most insane thing we do is trade our potential for applause. We hand over our deepest ambitions to be judged, criticized, and deluded by people who were never going to walk the path with us anyway. So starting today, try something. Don't announce your next move. Don't post about it. Don't text your friend about it. Don't even hint at it. Just do it. Wake up early, and tell no one. Read the book, and tell no one. Start the project, and tell no one. Let the silence become your sanctuary. Let the work become your identity. And let the results, when they finally arrive, speak with a volume that your words never could. I'll leave you with this. There is an old proverb whose origin has been lost to time, but whose truth has not. The lion does not turn around when a small dog barks. But here's the part they never add. The lion also never announced it was a lion. It didn't need to. And neither do you.